Hello, Nwabo.
Yes,
I'm ready.
yes, I started the recording.
Okay, thank you very much. So please confirm, can you see my slide?
Click
Yes,
on
we
it.
can see your slide.
Yes.
Okay, thanks very much. Good afternoon, guys. Hope you all good. Sorry to keep you waiting. I was hoping for at least less than 10. However, we need to continue. Thanks for coming, guys. I really appreciate you attending. Thanks very much. So before we begin, as always, you know the rules, but I have to emphasize, please make sure that you mute your mic, your video is off. Most importantly, please make sure that you complete your attendance register. Then let's look at our schedule. It's important for us to look at our schedule. As you can see, for today, we are discussing intelligence as well as the state of consciousness. Intelligence, the state of consciousness. We're going to spend at least 3 hours for these 2 chapters. I'll give you a break as soon as I'm done with 1 chapter so that you can refresh. Then after that, in the next 3 coming weeks, we will have the 3 chapters to complete PYC 1501. I'm sure the timetable haven't changed yet. Still, yes, we are still writing on the 27th of September, PYC 1501, and PYC 1502, we are writing on the 4th of October, multiple choice. One important thing, please make sure that you check your announcements, because students send queries regarding the examination dates, the structure. So I did speak to your senior lecturer, Mr. Skosana. So he informed me that all the relevant information will be uploaded in your MyUnisa. So check MyUnisa, my announcements, as well as academic resources. That's where we normally upload exam-related information. So my announcements, as well as academic resources. Thanks very much. So we can continue. Okay. So the 2 topics for today, state of consciousness and intelligence. We will start with state of consciousness. We are done with human nervous systems, as well as sensation and perception. Now, that recommended chapter is the nature of consciousness, or you could say the state of consciousness. My name is Siyabonga Zwane. You can call me Sia. Okay, let's begin. So before we begin, as always, we need to be able to define, to show our understanding regarding the term consciousness, the nature of consciousness regarding this term. We want to master this term, it will be much easier for us to continue. However, I won't do this alone. I need your assistance here to assess your understanding. Your understanding of the term consciousness. You can just open your mic and give me a definition. Either you give me a definition or just a synonym of consciousness. Remember, you're not here to judge one another, just to learn from one another. Consciousness. We've been doing consciousness.
Mr. Zwan. Okay. If I can, yes, if I can answer that, you said consciousness, no?
Yes.
I think it, as you said, we are not going to touch on another. From my own understanding, it is when you are sort of aware of what is happening.
Yes.
Yes, that's how I can sort of explain it.
Okay, thanks very much. Yes, you are correct. Another student? Noluvuyo mentions awareness. There are 3 synonyms. One is awareness, The second one is, let's play around them. You shouldn't think too much. Anything that comes into your mind, awareness, consciousness, what else? Daniel, Miguel, Nazir.
Hi, Mr. Sia.
Daniel, how are you?
I'm good, and yourself?
I'm okay.
Alertness, when you are alert.
Yes. Thanks very much. Awareness and alertness. Yes, you're correct.
Thank you.
Okay, pleasure. Yeah, that's what I needed. Your understanding. It might be a simple definition, but I would like to hear it from you. Because students differ. To some, consciousness might be something else. So consciousness is various definitions. The nature of consciousness. So in a textbook, they say the nature of consciousness. Then the nature of consciousness, point number one, to be conscious means to be aware. As Nolu mentions, to be aware, your state of awareness. Secondly, a state of clear, organized alertness, like Daniel is mentioning, alertness. So those are the key in your understanding of consciousness. Let's start from awareness. Let's break it down. To be conscious means to be aware. Why are they saying to be aware? Consciousness. Please close your mic. Awareness, meaning, remember psychology, human nervous system, our first chapter, deals with the key under PYC1501, neurons, nerves, receptor cells. When I touch you right now, you feel that I'm touching you. As I'm talking to you right now, meaning I'm activating your eardrums. Your eardrums in this case will act as a receptor cell to receive the information, to receive the waves. As I'm speaking to you right now, waves, the voice, even though you cannot see it, but it's going through the waves, meaning my voice is interacting with your eardrums. As you can see the slides, your eye, your visual system, receptor cells are absorbing the light, the color, the shape of the weight, the styling. That is visual. So awareness, what do they mean by awareness in this case? Anything that you see, as I'm showing the slide right now, meaning you are in a state of awareness, you can read the nature of consciousness. You can make sense of it. You can differentiate between the color red, white, gray, blue, purple, meaning there is a state of awareness because you're aware of the colors, you're aware of the light. Secondly, as I'm speaking to you right now, you can differentiate the voices. When Mr. Lenovo speaks, when Sia speaks, when Lunovio speaks, when Daniel speaks, you can differentiate the voices, meaning that on its own is a state of awareness. The ability to differentiate who is speaking now, who is quiet, the type of sound, the volume. Am I speaking softly? Am I speaking in louder? So that is a state of awareness in relation to hearing. So touch, I touch you right now, you feel the touch where I'm touching you from the back. Your hand is a hard touch, is a soft touch, or I'm pinching you. The ability to say someone is pinching me, meaning, yes, you are conscious, however, most importantly, awareness. So as psychology students, that's how we differentiate, we describe awareness. You need to be specific. Awareness, what type of awareness? Through the senses. What type of senses? Whether it's visual, it's touch, hearing, pain, awareness as well. Awareness, state of awareness or alertness is not only externally. It's not only about touch, what you see, what you hear externally. Also your internal well-being. Internal well-being, I mean, you can feel your heart rate. when you're breathing, your breathing rate, when you're not feeling well inside your body, you're having pain in your arm, pain in your stomach, pain in your throat, that's the state of awareness. For the fact that you can when you go to the doctor, you tell the doctor that I have pains inside my throat, meaning you are aware of where the pain is. So there's all over our body we have sensors, which that will allow us to conclude that we are aware of our body physiological system, and you are aware of your external surroundings. Then they say a state of clear and organized alertness. Organized alertness, what I've been explaining, that it is not just about alertness, but specific alertness. The fact that you can trace what's happening within your body, the fact that you can differentiate the voices. It says organized alertness. Remember, in your brain serves different purposes. There's a structure in the brain which controls, coordinates memory. As I'm talking to right now, you're trying to memorize the information. You know your date of birth, your phone numbers by heart, you know the direction where to go to work and come back. Those directions are stored somewhere in your memory. Hence, organized alertness, meaning you are aware about something that we know. We are cautious of ourselves, we are cautious of surrounding, we are cautious of what we take and what we don't take out. So it's a state of clear and organized alertness. It's not a shock, however, it's something that you know. So that's how you break down these ways. Because as a psychology student, you are normally tested. Other students will come to you or your family members, they ask you questions normally like, can you read my mind? What is the meaning of it? Yeah, plus you are doing psychology, what's the meaning of this? Then you need to have an ability to break down certain concepts. You have to emphasize them in psychology. You study about these terms, even in your master's level, because you are psychology students, meaning you need to pay attention to these concepts. State of consciousness, awareness, a state of clear, organized. When they ask you, what do you mean by a state of clear? I know alertness, but what is a state of clear, organized alertness? So like I've said, the simple explanation is that our brain does store memory. We've been living, we have experience. You can differentiate between the type of touches. We have an ability to retrieve information from our mind so that we can deliver externally. That means we organize alertness. We have organized information in our mind. Then point number 3, they say, state of consciousness change when people are tired. So in short, if they could ask you, what interrupts or what causes either a damage or disturbance in our state of consciousness? What causes disturbance in our state of consciousness? So state of consciousness changes when we are tired. So when we are tired, we are no longer the same. For instance, for you to attend the class, you need to be able to prepare yourself prior. That I'm going to attend a 3-hour session with Mr. Zwane, meaning I need to be prepared, because once you get tired, then your state of consciousness will be low. You won't be aware of what is happening. Your state of alertness will be very low. The state of arousal will be very low. You won't be having ability to concentrate. So state of consciousness is affected by tiredness, under hypnosis, experiencing the effect of drugs. Let's start with this one. Experiencing the effect of drugs. The effects of drugs, know them. Drugs, whether it's illegal drug or legal drugs. Intake of coffee, intake of your bioplus might enhance your concentration level. Coffee, your energy drinks. Then there are drugs like cocaine, marijuana, nicotine. Those are other type of drugs. They say they can affect. They are not saying they can affect them negatively or positively. However, they say they can affect your concentration level. They can affect your state of consciousness. Then they say under hypnosis. Hypnosis we'll discuss further. However, in short, when the person is in hypnosis is a specialization a specialization whereby the hypnotist will, in layman language, the hypnotist will enter into your mind through the weights, through the mechanism that they use. Let's say, for instance, you are going to a psychologist, you feel like you're being affected by something emotionally. It's either you don't want to talk about it or you forgot. Some people, there are certain instances, encounters that they experience when they were young. As they grow older, this thing affects them. But the challenge is now, what happened? You are not sure of what happened. Even though you remember what happened, you are not sure if that is what's affecting you. When you go to the psychologist will try to communicate with you, trying to draw back the information. Nonetheless, you find it challenging to express yourself because you either you're afraid of talking about it, you are not willing to talk about it, or you can't put it in words, or even you are not sure if what the psychologist is trying to retrieve is the main effect. Then the psychologist will send you to an hypnosis, or someone might recommend in hypnosis. Hypnosis will help you in drawing that backload, that information, the information that is affecting you. How are they doing it? That different mechanism that they do. So they call it suggestibility, of which we'll discuss how they enter into your mind. But let's leave it there. So they say state of consciousness. In that case, as soon as the hypnotist talks to you and you are willing to get help, automatically the hypnotist will work with you in a sense that your level of consciousness, the level of awareness will be affected because they're trying to withdraw the information from your mind. But we'll discuss in the next coming slides. Lastly, consciousness can be determined through the level of arousal, whether low or high level of arousal. When we talk about arousal, again, we are referring to awareness, alertness, the state of arousal. State of arousal is, in short, the state of excitement. Excitement, not just happiness, but your body being activated. For instance, now we are attending a class. We are trying to make sure that your phone perhaps is off. You put it on silence. You make sure that there's no one that is disturbing you. You inform everyone that I have a class from 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock, so do not disturb me. As soon as you log in to attend the class, meaning your state of arousal will be high because you have expectations. You're high, meaning you are focused on this. You're not attending to anything besides these classes. Your state of arousal is high. Then as time goes on, you'll experience fatigue. Then we can say low level of arousal because you're not paying attention. So high level of arousal, if you are paying attention to something, meaning your high level of arousal is directed on something. Then low level of arousal, you can say for now, perhaps it's directed on you watching TV because you are focused here. Exams are coming. There's a high level of arousal within you. The expectations of the exam. What is it that is going to come out? I need to write 10 modules within the period of 3 months. Your level of arousal is high, meaning your body is being activated. You are in a state of alertness, awareness. Emotions are high. Concentration peak is high. Again, we mentioned here that tiredness, hypnosis, the effect of drugs can affect your level of awareness. What else can affect your level of awareness? Head injury, you going on coma, and unconsciousness. Head brain injury. Want to experience head or brain injury, meaning certain essential structures within your brain will be affected. Won't be able to function fully. Coma. When a person is in coma, level of consciousness is low. If not low, there's no level of consciousness, because you can come touch a person, try to wake up a person, but the person can't feel anything. And consciousness leads to low. With this kind of consciousness, whether a coma or head injury, it means lead to low consciousness. It differs on certain individuals. Our level of consciousness differs. To some, it might be slightly low, some very, very low. That's what they're trying to say. Hence, they say head injury, coma, or consciousness leads to low level of awareness. Low level of awareness, meaning when a person is in coma, you might try to pinch a person, or when the person is in what you call those tablets, they normally inject the medication. They normally inject when you do an operation. Yes, you're in a state of low level of arousal, meaning your doctor can take out the teeth without you feeling a pain. They can perhaps operate you in your finger, your arm, without you feeling pain. Why they say low level instead of you don't have conscious, you're unconscious at all. You see, there are two: low conscious level, or you don't have consciousness at all. You're not aware at all. Why they are saying low consciousness? They're saying low consciousness because the doctors will inform you, or scientists, that normally with us guys, when you go for circumcision, unlike before, depending on your age, they inject straight in your penis. They inject straight in your penis. But once they inject, they are killing the feelings, the pain centers. In short, they're killing the pain centers. As soon as they kill the pain centers, then they can operate, remove the foreskin without you feeling a pain. That is number one, meaning is low level of arousal. Some people argue that no, not that you are not experiencing a pain, but the injection has killed the pain centers. Not that you're not experiencing the pain, but the injection itself has killed the pain centers. Once the pain centers have been killed, your body does experience pain. However, you won't feel it. How can you see that you're experiencing pain? You see that you're experiencing pain through what? Through your heart rate, through your blood pressure. While they're operating you, even though we are not feeling any pain, the heart rate detects that something is happening in your body. Your breathing rate detects, your blood pressure detects. Hence, when a person is in coma, they put the machines around you to monitor the heart rate, to monitor blood pressure, to monitor the breathing rate, meaning the body does experience pain. However, the pain centers are dead. Same applies to when you go to a doctor. They normally inform us that do not drink grandpa. Instead, drink any paracetamol or Panado. Then you ask why. They'll tell you that this powder medication, instead of dealing with the pain, they destabilizes the what? Your pain sensors. It collapses the pain sensors for a moment. Then you'll conclude that no, I'm fine now. My headache is fine. In seconds, the headache is fine, meaning that's not a prescribed medication. However, it kills your pain sensors. You won't feel any pain, but your reaction in the body, the blood pressure will feel that something is wrong with my body. Like I've said, your heart rate, your breathing rates, your body will feel that no, I'm in pain. That is why they say, even though a person experiences a head injury, the person is in coma, unconsciousness, there's no low level of alertness or awareness. Instead of, there's no alertness at all. Once you don't have alertness at all, it means you're dead. So when you're in coma, there is some form of consciousness, but the consciousness is very, very low. Unconsciousness means it's either you're dead or you're not aware of something, as I was mentioning here. Your alertness and awareness can be determined. I don't know anything about this. We can talk, me and Daniel, we can talk, gossip, talk in wriggles, talk about something else. You are sitting next to us as Nazir is sitting next to us, not having a clue what you are talking about. Again, that is the level of consciousness. He or she is not aware of what you are talking about. That's number one. Number two, awareness, the feelings, your senses are dead, that you cannot even feel anything that is happening around you. Okay, I've explained it too much. Emotional intensity means high level of arousal. So emotional intensity, like you said, I phone you now, I inform you, someone that is close to you has passed away. Your emotional intensity is high level of arousal. You're driving, immediately someone bumped your car. What happens first? Your emotional intensity goes high because you are scared for your life. You are shocked. You are being robbed. What comes into your mind first is death, or you'll be injured. They're taking your car, they're taking your mind. Emotional intensity goes high. So emotional state influences the level of arousal as well. Let's continue. The nature of sleep. Why the nature of sleep? Why the nature of sleep in relation to consciousness? Nature of sleep in relation to consciousness. So the concept sleep and consciousness, they relate very well. And we cannot discuss about consciousness without touching on sleep. Sleep is not, firstly they say, sleep is not the lack of consciousness. When you're sleeping, that doesn't mean you won't feel anything that is happening around you. They say sleep is not the lack of consciousness. Lack of consciousness, like I've said, you're closer to death or dead because you cannot feel anything. However, sleep, when you're sleeping, you are in a relaxation. Your body is relaxed. Hence, when someone shouts, or when you pee your bed, you wake up because you feel that something is wrong. When you're dreaming, you wake up. When I come touch you, you'll wake up. Meaning, sleep is not a lack of consciousness, because I can come to you, wake you up anytime. Then when you're not responding, that means you are dead, or you are in a deep coma. That is number one. Two, the brain actively maintains sleep through physiological measurements of brain activity. That is enterophallogram. Enterophallogram. That is EEG. Let's go back here. They say sleep is not a lack of consciousness. How can you see that sleep is not a lack of consciousness? How did they conclude? Did they come up with an idea that sleep is not a lack of consciousness? Because to me, initially, before I studied psychology, I always knew that awareness is when I'm awake. Awareness is when I'm awake. However, they are changing it in A to Z psychology. They say sleep is not a lack of consciousness. Then they are confusing me. So the question in mind is, how do they know that sleep is not a lack of consciousness? They say through this electrophallogram, the EEG, we can detect the level of the sleeping level of individuals through the movement of physiological measurement of the brain. They say the brain actively maintains sleep through the physiological measurement of the brain activity. Physiological, as soon as you hear the term physiological, you think of the physical parts within yourself. Physiological level in your brain, number one, that's your mind. Part of the brain activity. In your body, physiologically, we are referring to the movements of the chemicals, your heart rate, your breathing rate, the reaction of your organs, anything that is internally. through EEG. I mentioned the machine that they normally use. Think of the machine that they use when a person is in coma or in hospital. Next to you, there's normally a machine. The machine expresses itself through the waves. The machine that I'm referring to normally sounds like T, 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 to determine the physiological changes in a human body. When the person dies, you can hear it beeps quick, T, 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 or louder. Then the doctors will come. That is what we call electroencephalogram. That's what they use to determine individuals' sleeping activity. The brain actively maintains sleep through physiological measurements. So they measure the physiological measurement of the brain. Your brain is reacting. Once they put your machine, your brain is reacting. Your blood vessels are reacting. As soon as they become quiet, then the machine indicates. As soon as there's high intensity, maybe your blood rate goes high, your blood pressure goes high, again, it will indicate that there's something wrong. Then the doctors, the nurses will come attend to you through this machine. However, in psychology, they're giving us an example that we can use this machine to determine the sleeping patterns, the levels of sleep. How does this machine monitors or controls? How not controls? How does this machine EEG controls the sleeping patterns? That is delta wave, theta waves, alpha wave, and beta wave. Delta wave. The delta wave, they say delta wave, as you can see, the wave here, the structure is bit thick. It's a bit thicker compared to theta. Theta a bit smaller. Alpha more of a straight line, beta straight line. To see the difference, they say delta wave which has a high magnitude and the frequency of 0.5 to 3 hits. So that's what you need to memorize. You can write on top here in your textbook using a pencil, high amplitude as well as the frequency of 0.5 to 3 hits. That is delta wave. Then theta, the name of delta, bit thinner, same applies. However, regardless of this, okay, let me do this. Theta waves, which is slightly lower and irregular amplitude, with a frequency of 4 to 8. Alpha waves, which have a magnitude, amplitude, medium amplitude, with a frequency of 8 to 12. Then beta waves with a low amplitude, with a frequency of 13. If you see the difference here, they say high amplitude, low frequency. When the amplitude is high, there's low frequency. You see here, the amplitude is low. However, the frequency is high, so it's vice versa. Low amplitude, high frequency. High amplitude, low frequency. But what is the meaning of this? How can we relate sleep with these waves? How can we relate this if there are forms of sleep or level of sleep with this wave? Then they're explaining it here. They say the EEG provides some indications of arousal levels during wakefulness and sleep. That's EEG. The EEG provides some indication of arousal levels during wakefulness and sleep. They say there are mostly alpha waves. Alpha waves, the second one. There are most alpha waves when people are awake and relaxed, particularly if they have their eyes closed. That is number one. Here, we are awake and relaxed. However, your eyes are closed. That's relaxation mode on your couch, your bed, in your car seat. You want to relax. You know you can't relax because you are working. However, just sit there and close your eyes for a few minutes. It's a mini nap. You're awake, however, you just want to relax. You relax on your couch. You're awake, however, you close your eyes for a period of few minutes. That is alpha wave. So you can write here to remember it: relaxed, awake, in brackets, with eyes closed. Then, but as soon as people pay attention to things happening around them, while you're in your couch, you cast it, suddenly you'll hear things that are happening around you. Remember, you're not asleep. You're just relaxed. Suddenly you hear things that are happening around you. Automatically, beta waves come into place. Remember, you're relaxed, awake, with your eyes open. Suddenly, anything might happen. Either someone may call you, or your phone rings, or something disturbs you. You awake, instant, you are awake. That is beta wave. Instant, you are awake. They say beta waves replaces the alpha wave. Beta wave replaces the alpha wave. They continue. As people become drowsy and fall asleep, then as you become drowsy to fall asleep, right now you're tired, you're becoming drowsy and you want to sleep, there's more of delta wave. This is as soon as you become drowsy and there's a overwhelming need to sleep. That is delta wave. The need, too much need to sleep. Meaning theta is in between you being relaxed, awake. This one, overwhelming need to sleep, and drowsiness, meaning theta is in between. Different type of sleep are characterized by different brain waves. So these are different brain waves. So this is how you can relate these waves with certain patterns of sleep. During multiple choice question, we might choose one of these. Let's say we choose delta wave. They say delta wave, which has an high amplitude and a magnitude of 0.5 to 3 Hz, is associated with, then you write, is associated with drowsiness as well as sleep. Or we confuse with is associated with, we'll give you 4 options. Okay, let me start afresh. We'll give you this as a statement: delta wave, which has a high amplitude and a frequency of 0.5 to 3 theta waves, is associated with which type of sleep? 4 options. We put awake, relaxed, drowsiness, falling asleep. We play around with eyes closed. Then you need to know which phase of sleep you can associate with delta wave. That's how the lectures, the examiners might try to confuse you a bit. The relationship between delta waves and sleeping patterns. Again, this question might come up in different angles. They say sleep is not a lack of consciousness. But we, however, might include in multiple choice. As said, we leave this space. Is not a lack of consciousness. We put sleep, put coma, we put head injury. Then you need to choose which statements fits here. Perhaps in the purpose of EEG. So read to understand, not to know. When you read to understand, just try to interrelate the themes as I'm explaining it to you. Moving on. What time is it? Okay, it's fine. And moving on. The nature of sleep. The nature of sleep, we have S sleep, D sleep, functions of sleep, as well as sleep disorders. 4 of them. S sleep, restful sleep. Wave patterns are synchronized, high amplitude and low frequency. So this S stands for synchronized, not is synchronized. S stands for synchronized. So S sleep is equivalent to restful sleep. Restful sleep. So when you say restful sleep, that sleeping pattern, not that sleeping pattern, a type of a sleep, yeah, that when you're experiencing an overwhelming need to sleep, you say restful sleep. Synchronized high amplitude. They say high amplitude and low frequency. High amplitude. Remember under waves, they've mentioned high amplitude and low frequency. Let's check the waves that has high amplitude and low frequency. High amplitude and low frequency. Hence, they say to you, that's how waves has to do with. They say as soon as people become drowsy and fall asleep, delta wave. Meaning here is they're representing the delta wave, high amplitude and low frequency, drowsiness and sleeping. So it's divided into 4 phases. Phase 1, a state of drowsiness. So the presence of sleep. Number 1, you experience this overwhelming need to sleep. You become drowsy. That is number 1. 2, phase 2. Immediately, they say immediately after 10 minutes from drowsiness, immediately after 10 minutes, depends on the individuals. Some is 20 minutes before they go to deep sleep. Immediately after 10 minutes to 20 minutes, you're experiencing deep sleep. You sleep instantly. Phase 3, they say deep sleep, the person is very relaxed and autonomic activity slows down. Phase 3, from deep sleep. Remember, 10 minutes after is deep sleep, then deep sleep. The person is very relaxed and autonomic activities slows down. Start drowsiness, from drowsiness to sleep, deep sleep. As time passes, no one is disturbing you. You move to another phase of sleeping. You're becoming deep now. They say deep sleep, you are very relaxed and your autonomic activity slow down. Your autonomic nervous system, we can refer to your physiological being. Like I've said, your breathing rate, your heart rate, your blood vessels, they are trying to relax as well. Your senses are trying to relax. Then phase 4, a very deep sleep. A very deep sleep, difficult to rouse a person out of sleep. This is a type of sleep that we normally experience 4 o'clock, 3 o'clock, midnight, 2 o'clock midnight, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock midnight. Even when the alarms rings, you feel like smashing it. The very deep sleep. It is even difficult to wake you up, difficult to arouse the person out of the sleep. 4 patterns. Multiple choice questions, we can play around them. We put this very same statement. Then instead of under phase 1, instead of putting drowsiness, we put very deep sleep. We play around the options. So we need to know phase 1, as I'm explaining to you, when you sleep, you experience drowsiness, of which is light sleep first. Immediately after 10 minutes, that is deep sleep. Then deep sleep, that phase, you are very relaxed and your autonomic nervous system. So the key here is your autonomic nervous system, it slows down. 4th, a very deep sleep, difficult to arouse the person out of this type of sleep. S stands for synchronized. Here, D stands for desynchronized, not de-sleep, but desynchronized. Vice versa compared to synchronized. Here they say low amplitude and high frequency. Low amplitude and high frequency. That is beta waves, theta waves, slightly low, medium, so low amplitude and high frequency, meaning they are representing the alertness side. Here you are more in a alertness side compared to these two, whereby the person is asleep. Beta wave more of, like they mentioned in here, they say people are awake, relaxed, particularly if particularly if their eyes are closed. You know, this here, there are most alpha waves. That is alpha. This is alpha waves when people are awake and relaxed, particularly with your eyes closed. So that is low amplitude and high frequency alertness side of it. Dreaming. They say this is where dreaming takes place. The function of dreaming. This is where dreaming takes place. Desynchronous. Let me read it from the textbook. They say deep sleep. There is another type of sleep called deep sleep because the wave patterns is desynchronized. Desynchronized meaning low amplitude and high frequency. This is actually the same pattern that characterizes wakefulness. Although the person is asleep, there is a type of sleep. This is a type of sleep where when a person dreams, dreaming most takes place. Whereby dreaming most takes place. During this sleep, there are rapid eye movements. So they mentioned during this sleep, the dreaming phase, there's rapid eye movements. According to EEG, when people are dreaming, there's eye movement. Your eyes don't stand still. Yes, they're saying under EEG, physiological reactions happens in your brain. So this includes the eyes. As soon as we are dreaming, there's rapid eye movement. Even though the eyes are closed, but there's rapid, they move around because they are interacting. Remember, they said sleep is not a lack of consciousness. There is consciousness when you're sleeping. So as soon as you try to interact with your dreams, meaning you are aware of what's happening, then there's rapid eye movement. Dreaming phase, they say low amplitude, high frequency. They say low amplitude, high frequency, meaning you are a bit awake. It's a form of alertness because you're interacting with your dreams. Muscle tones during deep sleep, when you're dreaming, muscle tones is very low. The sleeper is unable to move. However, when the person awakens from deep sleep, they instantly awake and know what is happening around them. So in this phase, the dreaming phase, normally, if you notice that as soon as you are done dreaming, or when your dream finishes, instantly you become awake. Instantly become awake, depending on the dream. At times you wake up and think of the dream. Sometimes you just wake up, perhaps you wake up and gasp for breath, then you go back to sleep. That's why they say this sleep is related to wakefulness, because when I wake you up immediately after dreaming or during a dreaming phase, instantly you wake up. You wake up unconfused. When you wake up a person from this phase, a very deep sleep, as soon as the person wakes up, your speech is blurry. You are a bit confused of what's happening. I can touch you. Hey, Daniel. As soon as you wake up, more dizzy. Hey, what's happening? Compared to a person who is in a dreaming zone, as soon as that touches you, once you wake up, open your eyes, you'll be alert of what's happening. You'll see who's calling you, what's happening. Immediately check time. You know that you need to go to work. Your instinct tells you that no, you need to wake up and go to work because you're in an alertness zone. It's just that your brain is playing around. Your brain is facilitating certain activities. What's those activities? The dreaming phase, the dreaming activities. They continue by functions of sleeping. Functions of sleeping. What are the functions of sleeping? Why do we have to sleep? Between me and you know that sleeping, we need to sleep in order to relax our mind. That is what you know. We sleep because we want to relax our mind. We cannot work 24 hours. We need to rest, work. No one is really sure. According to the textbook, they say, no one is really sure what the functions of sleeps are. of sleep are? Various theories have been suggested. For example, that regard sleep as a period, they regard sleep as a period of restoration, as having a survival function. It is generally believed that sleep is essentially for normal functioning. Sleep deprivation is a form of stress. You see, sleep is a normal functioning. It is accepted to sleep. Your body requires you to relax. Once you don't give your body enough rest, once you don't give your mind enough rest, then you'll go to what we call sleep deprivation. Sleep deprivation is a form of stress and can have a negative effect on your concentration and coping ability. So when you don't sleep, your coping mechanism will be low. When you don't relax, it will be low. You won't be active. The effect of sleep deprivation also vary according to person's physical and mental health. So this way they say the function of sleep vary in relation to these two perspectives, two theories. There's cognitive theory, then there's neurobiological perspective. Let's start with cognitive theory. The term cognitive has to do with your reasoning capability, your reason. When you're awake, we think, we reason, we're trying to solve problems. Our mind is constantly working. Besides you going to work, besides you making your meal, trying to interact with people, attending the class, your brain is always working. When you are driving, meaning your body is working, your mind is working, because you're trying to focus. Want to lose concentration, you get in a car accident. While you're driving, you are not only driving for yourself, you are looking at other motorists. You are thinking at the same time, you're checking time. Your petrol, you're looking at other cars, directions. So your mind is constantly working. Cognitive, that's what they're saying. You always apply reasoning, logic in anything that is in front of us. As soon as you wake up, going to work, your presentation for next week is constantly working. That is cognitive theory. So in the textbook, they say REM, which is rapid eye movement. Rapid eye movement sleep allows the brain to withdraw from the outside world and or recognize the bit of millions information collected during the day. According to cognitive theory, they say the reason we are dreaming, the reason why we are dreaming is because the brain is trying to reorganize information, things that normally happens during the day. As soon as you go to sleep, REM, rapid eye movement, they ensure that your brain reorganizes the information in your brain. Remember, brain, there's certain information that is needed, there's unnecessary information that you don't even need to think about. So brain is reorganizes information. How does it recognize information? Remember, during a day or throughout our lives, we pay attention to what is important to us. We pay less attention to what is not important to us. However, what is not important to us, even though we have seen it, we have experienced, is not important to us, still it will enter in our short-term memory because we cannot avoid it. Things that are most important to us, they go straight to long-term because there's a meaning to us. We are sure that we want to remember them. But there's certain information like remembering the petrol attendants, remembering that the car that you passed. Remember when you passed, there was a pedestrian that was running, perhaps car accident. What else? You passed the guy who was stuck with his car. So that information we might say is not important. As soon as the day passes, chances are you'll forget that information because it's not important. So that's what IRM does. It ensures that the relevant information stays in your mind, the unnecessary information goes out. This, by saying REM sleep allows the brain to withdraw the outside world and reorganizes the bit of information, the millions of bits of information collected during the day. The information is not, they say the information is not necessarily lost, but is reorganized in a meaningful way. Not that you wake up and forgot what happened yesterday. You still remember. However, since it's not important, you want to, there's no need to retrieve it. Through cognitive process, cognitive remembers reasoning, meaning whatever that you think about is something that we also allowed it. You try to, when you try to explain it to someone else, no man, you mentioned that you passed N1 last week. You passed N1, there was an accident. I remember when I was driving, I saw an accident. Red car, yes, no, that was me. I remember it. Meaning, for you to remember certain information, you need to think about them. Cognitive, you need to reason, then will come into your mind. The information is not merely lost, however, is organized, is absorbed in a specific way. If you want to remember it in future, or if the situation forces you to remember the information, you'll remember the information. Then, number 3, neurobiological perspective. The neurobiological perspectives here, we've been mentioning neurons, nerve system. Our body functions through nerves, neurons. Our body functions through nerves in neurobiological perspective. Our brain is constantly in work. We are presenting a class right now, neurons are working. Different senses are working. While I'm presenting a class, meaning auditory, I'm affecting your eardrums, not affecting, I'm stimulating your eardrums, I'm stimulating your mind with the slides. At the same time, you can feel whether the room is cold or hot or it's a bit chilly, then you decide to switch on the heater, meaning the senses are high, they're working. Visual is working, auditory is working, pen sensors, your skin is working to receive. Someone might knock while I'm presenting the class, or while you attending to a class, then you need to attend to a knock. Your phone rings. Our neurons are constantly in work. They are constantly working. So what happens in this case? In the textbook, they say the neurological perspective is based on neural network that supports memory. The context has anonymous interactions, and the theory holds the memory information encoded. Okay, it's not necessary to read. However, they're explaining that in neurons, they are constantly in work. When there is an overload of information, when there's an overload of information, the network do not function well. True. When there's an overload of information in your mind, particularly when you're experiencing fatigue, you lose concentration, meaning there's an overload of information within your network. Network we are referring to your neurons. Then you have REM. They say REM sleep is suggested as a mechanism for cleaning up the networks by deleting unnecessary information. So same applies to cognitive theory. This REM also works here by doing what? By deleting the unnecessary information. Deleting that necessary information. That is why, let's say our class was physical. Then I can see one of you is losing focus. I'll come and say, hey, come back, wash out. Or focus. I tell you to focus or concentrate, meaning I'm trying to make you to focus to avoid overloading your network. Your mind needs to be here. Psychologists will tell you, or people in general, that don't overthink things. Just do it. don't overthink. The more you overthink, you're overloading your mind. You're overwhelming your mind with thoughts instead of doing. That is neurobiological pattern. So the most important thing that they're highlighting here is that they say, for this reason, it is thought that people should not be encouraged to remember dreams because they actually contain information that the brain does not want to get rid of. According to this neurobiological perspective, they say that is why it is encouraged for you not to remember the dreams, to try to remember the dreams. Why? They say because they're not, some information is not necessary. The brain is trying to get rid of the unnecessary information. Then you want to think about it, you want to retrieve it. Meaning again, your brain activity, you're experiencing low overload. So that's what the more you focus on the dreams, the brain is trying to get rid of them. So that is their analysis, their understanding of dreams. So the last one under sleep disorders. Sleep disorders, which are four. We have insomnia. Insomnia, the most popular one. Insomnia. Insomnia is the inability to sleep. You go to bed, you are trying to sleep, then you are unable to sleep. This may refer to difficulty in falling asleep at night. Or you sleep now, suddenly 12 o'clock, you wake up. You sleep 10 o'clock, 12 o'clock, you wake up, no sleep. Or being unable to get back to sleep. Or waking up very early in the morning without having slept enough. So in sum, the sleep difficulties. So these sleep difficulties are normally caused by, it could be something that you have eaten, drank before you're going to sleep, like too much caffeine will affect your sleep patterns. You are thinking too much, there's something that is stressing you, overwhelming need, overload of thoughts in your mind, then you have an inability, you experience inability to sleep. Then there's narcolepsy, which is overwhelming need to sleep. It's different from inability to sleep, you can't sleep. However, overwhelming need to sleep, which is the opposite. That is where you experience an overwhelming need to sleep. You want to sleep now. That nice feeling, if I could get to bed now. You're sleeping in the car, sleeping in your couch. That overwhelming nice form of sleep. It is the term used for symptoms of sleep that occur during wakefulness. A narcotic sleep attack is an overwhelming need to sleep. It can happen at any time, usually lasts for a few minutes. So this type of sleep can happen at any time. You hear people, they say, I'm going for a power nap. We are starting right now. So I know I'm going for a power nap. That's it. Nice need to sleep. You sleep in a few minutes and instantly you wake up. Then there's the catalepsy. Catalepsy, a sudden collapse. A sudden collapse. Catalepsy is a sudden collapse when a person is awake but unable to move. It is usually triggered by intense emotional experience or sudden movement. This is when an example would be, I phone you, I tell you bad news. Even if I don't phone you, I come to you and tell you bad news. Before you even respond, your mind just collapsed. You are shocked by what I've just informed you, but what I've just told you. You are shocked. You normally hear that. Some people respond to be unamang. You are lying, meaning you are lying. Unamang. Are you being serious? In that instance, the person collapse for a few seconds. Collapse, they are not referring to you fall down, but your brain freeze for a moment because you are shocked by this instance. Again, we are driving, suddenly the car comes straight to you and you can feel it that this car is going to hit me. Stand still, you become shocked while the car is coming. You normally see it in the movies. That is the form of collapse that they're talking about. you become sleepy for that particular moment. You are awake, however, you become sleepy. Your mind shuts down and comes back within a few seconds. They say another symptom of catalepsy is sleep paralysis that occurs just before falling asleep and waking in the morning. The person is awake but unable to move, but the paralysis ends when they are touched or cold. During this paralysis, they may have a sort of a dream called hypnagogic hallucination. Another form of sleep is you are sleeping. Before you even wake up normally, I wake you up in the morning. No, look, we wake up. You become awake, but for a few seconds you are lost. You know what's happening. Your body is standstill. Wake up, you become quiet. Then you come back to life and you wake up. Meaning they call that sleep paralysis. You collapse from sleep. A sleep paralysis for a few seconds, then you become awake. Lastly, sleep apnea. Sleep apnea, a condition of breathing difficult during sleep. Breathing difficult during sleep. Normally, these people will while they are sleeping, during their sleep, they will wake up, gasp for air, then go back to sleep. This refers to a condition of breathing difficult during sleep. People with this condition wake up gasping for breath and then go back to sleep. The problem is that sleep is frequently disrupted and the person is experiencing a form of sleep deprivation. Like a baby. Normally, a baby when he's asleep, you'll find wakes up a few seconds, open the eyes and go back. Now and again, open the eyes and go back. So they are sensitive to what is happening around them. We also refer to that as sleep apnea. Okay, guys, before we continue with hypnosis, let me take some questions or elaborations. You ask me a question or you elaborate if you feel like I didn't explain too much on certain points. No, look, I can see your hands.
I've got a question. I don't know in English, what can I call it? But I just want to know what type of sleep is that? Like you explained, I'm like wondering in my mind when sometimes your eyes are like, are open, but you can't move. We call it Nachman. I don't know
Nachman.
in proper English. What is that? So what type of sleep is that?
It's falls under. You're saying your
eyes are open. It's like you could hear the movements in the house, but yet your body cannot move.
It falls under catalepsy, sleep paralysis. In a textbook, they call it, they say another symptom of catalepsy is sleep paralysis. So it's sleep paralysis. So it's something that is normal. Sleep paralysis whereby it occurs just before.
Okay.
The person is awake but unable to move. But the paralysis ends when the person is being touched or called. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. So next question or elaboration. Okay, let's move on. We are now discussing hypnosis. Hypnosis, which is attached with the sleep paralysis. Hypnosis. Where is the chapter? Hypnosis. I did explain hypnosis for using some few words. Hypnosis. They say hypnosis. What do you understand about hypnosis? We normally hear about these terms. I'll hypnotize you. He was hypnotized, or she was hypnotized. I'll hypnotize you. I'm not sure whether these specializations, whether we do have it in South Africa or the international, they have to refer you to somewhere, or it is here. You must find a specialization in South Africa. However, the challenge could be few of people who are specializing in that. Few people are specializing in it. Some will say it's not just about specialization, but it's a calling. Even though you go to school and study about it, however, there's some form of a calling, because not anyone can do hypnosis. I made an example to you that not imagine you go to a psychologist or therapist for a certain challenge. You find it, perhaps you find it hard to be in a crowd. You find it hard to be next to other people. You're uncomfortable. Basically, in short, you're uncomfortable around people. You always want to sit alone. And it's not just about choice. It's not just about choice, but this overwhelming need to be alone. You don't need people around you. When people around you become scared. When people come next to you, whether in town or mall or even in location, even family members, you don't want people to be closer to you. Just assume that you're experiencing that condition. However, as soon as you grow older, this condition start affecting you psychologically, in a sense that you're wondering, what's happened to me? What is happening? As Sia tried talking to me, I did go to a psychologist, but it seems like I can't deal with this issue. Perhaps there's an underlying issue within me. Then I decided, yes, no, let me go to a therapist, speak to a therapist. They're trying to help you with your condition. Even the therapist finds it hard to deal with that condition. So that condition could be, maybe there's something that affected you when you were young, but you don't want to talk about it. You are not willing to talk about it. You don't know what happened to you. Meaning this thing is subconscious. You cannot just retrieve it. You are not aware what happened to you. Another option would be something that you are not willing to talk about it. You are not aware of what happened to you. You are aware of what happened to you, but you don't know how to put it in words, or you are in denial that certain thing happened to me. Then the psychologist might suggest an hypnosis. In hypnosis, once you go there, hypnosis will assist you in coming back, in withdrawing back from the backload, in going back to your past life. Yeah, in going back, in short, in going back to your past life. How does the hypnosis work with you? How do they do that? Number one, they say hypnosis are situations in which people's behavior are involuntary and hypnotic. Your behavior is involuntary. Remember, you don't know what happened. So the hypnosis will try to work with you in withdrawing those memories. Meaning your behavior needs to be involuntary. The hypnosis needs to influence your behavior so that you'll talk or you'll do things. Those things will give a hypnosis an indication of what's happened while you are talking, while expressing yourself. So they say a situation in which your behavior will be involuntary. Why involuntary? Because you went there for assistance, yes, willing to be helped. However, due to the questions, the analysis of the hypnosis, the mechanism that are applied by the hypnosis, you portray some involuntary behaviors, some things that you didn't know, they will come up. I've never experienced it physically, but I've heard it. You normally see it in the movies. Matrix, this where they use artificial intelligence information. This is done through the process called increased suggestibility. So the hypnosis will apply what is called increased suggestibility in you. Increased suggestibility in the context of spatial relationship between the person and the hypnosis. The person is you as a client, the patient, then there's a hypnosis. Increased suggestibility. As soon as you come to me for that form of therapy, I have your profile. I know about you. Certain information perhaps I've been given by the psychologist. I also do my research while we are in a session. I'm busy asking you a question. I'm writing down some few pointers. So I will use that information to ask you questions. So meaning I suggest certain things to you, then you do them. For instance, let's say the hypnosis. See that there are some indications that this person was sexually isolated at younger age. There are some patterns that the person was isolated, was sexually isolated at younger age. Then you can ask questions based on that as a hypnosis. What would you do in this situation? I ask you, if something happens to you, what do you do? What do you see? What's on your mind? Then you tell me. While you're telling me, remember, your body, you're telling me things involuntarily because I'm pushing you to the limit. I'm pushing you to speak up. I'm pushing you to stimulate the unconscious self, the unconscious memory, and I bring it to light. So they call it increased suggestibility. The more they ask you questions, the more they give you suggestion, do this. How do you do this? Then you do it. You talk. Some they even cry when I see it through the movies. Some they even cry, expressing themselves. Some information shocks them. So trying to get them to remember their real world, their uncovered self, their unknown selves. Hypnotized people can walk around and respond to things happening around them. So they're emphasizing, even though the behavior is involuntary, even though there's a relationship between a patient and a hypnosis through increased suggestibility, the person can still walk around and respond to things happening around the world. What do they mean? Depending on the session between you and the hypnosis, whether you be sitting down or you stand up, because they're trying to take you, to push you to that limit. Yes, you can hear the voice of the hypnotist. Do this. What will you do? What will happen? You are responding. Hypnosis people can walk around and respond to things happening around them. This means if your phone can ring, you can hear your phone. You can hear that your phone rings. Someone knocks on the door. However, the hypnotist will try to make sure that you respond to what's happening, to his or her questions. A person has to be willing to be hypnotized for it to succeed. They say a person has to be willing to be hypnotized for it to succeed. You get it? You can come to a hypnosis, however, you are not willing to be helped. You are not willing to talk. It will become challenging. So you need to be in a state of readiness to talk about this. The more it affects you, the more they ask you questions, meaning you will connect. Your voices will connect, your thoughts will connect. You'll connect to the problem because you're willing to be assisted. This is like, if I could give you another example, like another example would be when you are about to have a sexual intercourse with a certain individuals willingly. You get into sexual intercourse willingly, meaning the body reacts. How does the body react? You become excited. Certain things happen in your body. The hormones are released. Your blood vessels are being released. You become excited. Then, as soon as you start penetrating, the body reacts. Same applies to the form of hypnosis. You need to be ready. You need to be willing to work with the hypnosis. when the hypnotist try to put you in a certain platform, in a certain state psychologically, you need to be willing to work with the psychology, allow the hypnotist to get into your world psychologically. Then you'll be able to go to touch the unconscious things that haven't been touched before. That is, a person has to be willing to be hypnotized for it to succeed. Yes, the hypnosis is based on increased suggestibility of a person or a patient, in a sense that they have to be willing participants. Want to become a willing participant, then you can work with the hypnosis. I hope I explained it clear. They say what hypnosis can do and what hypnosis cannot do. What hypnosis can do and what hypnosis cannot do. There are myths around hypnosis. Because most of the time we see the hypnosis TVs, particularly Chinese people. That's where you see hypnosis. So at times when they're being hypnotized, you'll find the person raising his or her hands, then the person will float. They're conducting you. You move your hand, the person floats like a magician while you're being hypnotized. That's a myth around it. That's what you see normally in TV. So these are what hypnosis cannot do, what hypnosis can do. While hypnosis produces relaxation, concentration, temporary changes in the mind. While you're in hypnosis, you need to be relaxed as much as possible. Want to become willing, you forgot about other forms of stress, you focus. It produces relaxation, concentration, temporary changes in the behavior. Another use of hypnosis is hypnotic suggestion, which refers to the suggestions to do or experience something in particular after coming out of the hypnotized state. Okay, let's start here. Relaxation, yes. Concentration, yes. Temporary changes in the behavior. Like I said, certain behaviors become involuntary. Behaviors like perhaps you will cry. The more the hypnosis gets into your mind, some perhaps will even refuse. No, I don't want to do this anymore because there's things that are triggering you. Some will you stand up and run. Some will be threatened by something. So there's temporary changes in the body. They say another use of hypnosis is post-hypnotic suggestibility. Post meaning after. There's pre and post. Another use of hypnosis is post-hypnotic suggestion, which refers to the suggestion to do or experience something in particular after you are being hypnotized. So let's imagine right now you are being hypnotized. You're afraid of standing in front of people. Let's assume you're afraid of standing in front of people. You go to the hypnosis, then the hypnosis try to work with you during the session. Then after the session, remember, let's go back. When you're being hypnotized, you need to be willing. When you're willing, the hypnosis works with you. Then the hypnosis need to check if what you've been done during hypnosis is working when you're out of hypnosis. You're in hypnosis now. Then when you're out of hypnosis, after the session, then the hypnotist need to check whether what have been done, the practices, the increased suggestibility, the questions, how can you apply them when you're not being hypnotized? By asking you the same questions. You are afraid of standing in front of people. During hypnosis, I ask you questions like, given an opportunity to be in front of thousands of you, imagine yourself in front of 1,000 people. How do you present? How would you deliver your speech? How would you portray yourself? You are doing it with me during hypnosis, through imaginations. Then we are done now. I take you straight to in front of 100 people. I say to you, then talk, do your presentation. I've killed your fears. through hypnosis. Now we are not in hypnosis. Do that. Remember, we are trying to work with you. We are trying to make sure that you are not afraid of people. We are trying to make sure that social phobia, you deal with the social phobia. So we need to apply it during hypnosis and apply it outside hypnosis. That is what you call post-hypnotic suggestion. 1.2.2, what hypnosis cannot do. The myth around hypnosis, what it cannot do. They say hypnosis does not prevent people from experiencing pain. Hypnosis does not prevent people from experiencing pain. That is number one. You will still feel pain. While I'm being hypnotized, if I can hit you, you'll feel that I'm hitting you. If I pinch you, you'll feel that I'm pinching you. Hypnosis cannot make you stronger. Hypnosis cannot make you stronger, yes. So there are certain myths that when you're being hypnotized, you can lift rocks, you can lift the cars, you can stand with one finger upside down. Hypnosis cannot improve memory. Hypnosis cannot improve memory. However, it reveals the unconscious thoughts, not improving the memory, but it helps you to uncover the unconsciousness, the unconscious thoughts. Lastly, the question is hypnosis an altered state of consciousness? Is hypnosis, in short, is hypnosis a replacement of consciousness? Hypnosis is a special state of consciousness characterized by the great increased suggestibility. Meaning, when you're being hypnotized, you are conscious. Hypnosis is a special state of consciousness characterized by the great increased suggestibility. Through suggestibility, it influences your consciousness. Then, hypnosis is not an altered state. In short, they say, in answering to this question, hypnosis is not an altered state of consciousness. It is a form of consciousness. However, through what we call increased suggestibility. Okay, last slide. Under nature of consciousness, the effects of psychoactive drugs. The effects of psychoactive drugs. Remember, we've mentioned that what else can affect your consciousness? What can affect we've mentioned brain damage, coma, tiredness, as well as drugs. 5 types of drugs. The first drug is a stimulant. A stimulant, like it says, stimulation, a stimulant. Stimulants increase alertness, boost energy and activity, produce pleasant feelings. For example, amphetamine, cocaine, and caffeine. Caffeine, coffee, energy drinks, they act as a stimulant in your body. They boost your energy, they increase your alertness. Cocaine, that's what it does as well. Hence, cocaine is normally used by ecstase. People who are performing, artists, celebrities, they use cocaine just to make sure that they can perform the whole week, especially in December. These are allegations. I'm not pointing anyone, but there's a study that most people who are performing artists, they use it in order to stay awake. They need to make money. They are being pressurized by the industry. Bookings, money. One Saturday, you need to perform 4 shows. You're moving to Durban, Cape Town, Johannesburg. So for you to stay awake, there's nothing you can do. Perhaps you are drinking Power Plus, but Power Plus doesn't do anything. Caffeine doesn't do anything. You need to make this money. You end up someone come and tells you, no, cocaine, try cocaine. You stay awake the whole night. Then they use cocaine to boost their energy. Amphetamine, normally find again tablets. Depressants, the opposite of stimulant. That is stimulation. You become awake. Depressant, like you become depressed. Their effect is depressing. Depressant decrease arousal level, so it lowers your arousal level. That is alcohol. When you drink The more you drink, chances are you experience blackouts. You sleep. As much as it makes you excited, however, it depresses certain things. That's why people can hit you when you're drunk. Anything can happen to a person who's drunk, and you wake up in the morning being surprised. "Oh, what happened to me? What happened?" Because you're drunk. Your drunkenness depresses your. They'll tell you that once a person is drunk, the drunkenness depresses what? Fear. You hear sometimes they say, "No, let me drink. As soon as I'm drunk, I'll confront him or her." Meaning the level of alcohol depresses your sense, your fear sense. It depresses as well as pain. You won't feel pain. Not that you won't feel pain at all. But normally people get beaten, but still try to fight. Until in the morning, that's where you experience a real pain. Why? Because alcohol, the tranquilizer, the nicotines, against they destabilize your pain senses. They destabilize your fear. You don't know feel fear because you've been killed by alcohol for that particular moment. Then you have hallucinogen. Hallucinogen are drugs that bring about distorted sensory experience. They bring about distorted sensory experience, confusion. People who take hallucinogen have intense sensory experience, can enter dreamlike state, such as LCD, marijuana, ecstasy, particularly marijuana. Want to drink, you smoke marijuana, they say you're in a dreamlike state. You'll see things, you'll imagine things alone. A dreamlike state. They say dream. You have certain visions. Distorted sensory experience, meaning it affects your sensory experience. What you see might not be what you're really seeing. You're seeing something else. Your sensory experience is distorted, it's confused. Inhalants are substances that produce a sense of intoxication when they're inhaled by sniffing through nose and mouth. Sniffing through nose and mouth. So these inhalants, again, they're illegal, they're not non-illegal things. Cleaning fluids. That's what I see in the labs. Cleaning fluids or certain cleaning companies, they make sure that their employees are protected by protection gears. They close their eyes, even their hairs. They wear comfortable clothes, protective gears, so that they cannot inhale the cleaning equipment, the cleaning fluid, paints. It is recommended that when you paint, close your nostrils, because you can get drunk and fall. Close your nostrils. Leave the door open, windows open, so that this can dry up and the smell can move away. So this is done. This form of inhalation is through the nose or mouth. Mouth, again, when you smoke through, cleaning, you inhale through the mouth and noses. Same applies to the paint. Then the last one, chronic drug effects. If the prolonged intake of the drugs, you have been taking drugs for a long period of time, chronic drug effects have an initial desirable effect. When you taking drugs for the first time, any form of drug, they have that desirable effect. When you're taking Paralysis for the first time, there's that that effect that it does. Suddenly you can focus. Whether it's cocaine, coffee, that excitement, they give that pleasure, excitement, relaxation. Nonetheless, the drugs wear off as it leaves the brain. However, when the drug leaves the brain, something else, hangover, we also call it itlama, experience of hangover. You can drink now, that pleasurable feeling is within you. Day after tomorrow, boom, the drug wears off. When when it leaves the brain, is way of experiencing of withdrawal effects. So the withdrawal effects, they depend. You are taking drugs, now you decide, I want to go to rehab. That effect of withdrawing from drugs, making sure that you're not taking drugs any longer, the withdrawal effect, certain things happens in your body. Your mind is not an easy journey. So that's what they're referring to, chronic drug effects. Initially, they're exciting, relaxation, desirable effects. But as soon as they wears off, as soon as this drug wears off and leave the brain, leave your system, you're experiencing some challenges. It's normal. Okay, guys, we are done with the state of consciousness. It's a long chapter. So before we move on, any questions regarding what you've just discussed? Any questions, elaborations under hypnosis? Any clarity? Did I confuse this somewhere regarding hypnosis? And
I just want to know, just for on hypnosis,
yes.
Realism, or like you mentioned, there's a calling somewhere or something you think. Is it something that a person can go to university and study psychology and go beyond that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I was saying, in South Africa, I'm not sure. I've never seen a qualification, but there is. Just few institutions might offer it. Maybe UNISA not offer it, but University of Cape Town offers it. It's a specialty on its own.
Okay.
So my argument was that some people will tell you, you cannot do this if there's no calling. There needs to be a form of calling. A calling, they're not referring to your ancestors need to speak to you. You need to go to form of cleansing. But it could be something that is within you, that you're interested, that deep desire.
Okay. Another question on hypnosis is that.
Oh, no, I'm coming to you. Okay, Noluvuyo.
Is that you said a person needs to sort of agree and to do this, but after the hypnosis, can the person remember what they actually shared with the person with the hypnosis or something? Can they remember exactly what they said, what happened?
Yeah, that's a very important question. Number one, you're going to a hypnosis to uncover the unconscious and what happened to you, the unconscious forms of behavior, unconscious forms of thoughts. The hypnotist will try to assist you to uncover it. As soon as they are uncovered, they become conscious, meaning you will remember. Because now they have become conscious thoughts.
Okay.
Yeah. Thanks very much. Is it clear?
Yes, it is clear. And then on the I think, is it type of a drug? I used to take one of the energy drinks. Like you said, after sometimes it wears off. I think somehow it's a high dosage, because in December I used to work like right through and use score, and the next thing, like after like some days, my body will be like tired. I couldn't like do it. Is it maybe some type of drug or something in there?
Yes, that's why they say to you, initially, the first reaction is relaxation, excitement. You can concentrate, you can function with it. There's a need again to take more.
Yes.
However, as soon as this thing is prolonged, it starts affecting your body. Your body doesn't need it in any way. Your body has its own chemicals. Yeah, remember your body has its own chemicals, the neurotransmitters, different kind of chemicals.
Okay.
But those additional drugs, these chemicals, the fluids in your body, they fight back. They want to take out this one because it's not good for your body. It's not a recommendation for your body.
Okay.
Yes. Thank you, Noluvuyo. Nomhle, I saw your hand up. Nomhle nokukhanya.
Yes, yes. I also wanted to ask about the energy drinks as well.
Okay.
But another question was, can you take someone who's not mentally stable to a person that does hypnotics? Maybe perhaps you want them to be like normal for a few hours so that you can ask them questions, or does it have to be like a sane person that goes there so you can be able to talk to them properly?
Okay, so the key here, a mentally disabled person. Hypnosis, you have to be willing. So for a mentally hypnotist to be willing, that would be a challenge, a mentally disturbed, because consciousness is not the same as a person who is not mentally disabled. So mentally disabled, normally they take them to clinical psychologists as well as psychiatrists. The mechanism differs. But that's an important question. It shows that you understand, you do understand the content. Thanks, guys. Interesting questions. Okay, guys, let's take a break. We have another chapter that we need to discuss. That is intelligence. We need to do intelligence. I can see now it is 5:54. 6 o'clock, let's come back and continue. Let's take a break. 6 o'clock, we'll come back and continue. No, 6 o'clock, let me check. No, 6 o'clock is a bit far. My watch says 5:51. Let's come back 5:56. Let's take a 5 minutes break, then you come back. Am I clear? Five minutes break, then we do intelligence. Thank you. Okay, guys, I'm back. I'm back. Let's continue. Intelligence. So you are left with an hour to finish. Okay, let me push. We have 12 slides. Intelligence. Intelligence. Let's start by defining it. Our understanding of the term intelligence. During our high school days, primary, our definitions of intelligence was that any smart person is intelligent. You'll find it during our school days, particularly high school. There's this one learner who is good in mathematics. Only mathematics is good at numbers and figures. We refer to that student as intelligent during our high school days, primary, because you are good in something that other people are not good at. We say, no, he's intelligent. He's the smartest boy in the class. However, there's this one learner who's good in languages, reading and writing. When it comes to doing speech, debating, this one learner is intelligent. Nonetheless, that learner is not regarded as intelligent compared to the one who's good in maths and numbers and figures. Have you seen that? You'll find students who are doing maths and science that are referred to as the most intelligent compared to a student who are doing accounting and economics, compared to a student who are doing general, who are doing history, geography. They are considered less intelligent. That's a layman definition or understanding of intelligence. However, as psychology students, this module will give you a broader version of what intelligence is. Remember, we are not disputing the analysis that a person who's good in numbers and figures is intelligent, but you are disputing the fact that the person who's good in numbers and figures is intelligent more than others. That's what you are disputing. In short, you are saying individuals are unique. There's different forms of intelligence. Individuals are unique. If you are good in dealing with numbers and figures, you are intelligent in that aspect, numbers and figures. If you are good in presentation, in writing, in expressing yourself, you are intelligent in languages, you're intelligent in writing, in writing and presentation. You might find one of the students is not good in maths and numbers, is not good in presentation. However, in sport, he or she excels. That's why in certain schools they try to make sure that all these form of intelligence, all these skills are covered. Not so that other learners won't be neglected in certain forms of intelligence, in certain opportunities. If you are good in sports, they focus on sports. They make sure that, yes, you master your grades. However, they put much emphasis on your sports. Then you go as far as playing for UNISA, playing for UJ, playing for VITS, then you'll find yourself playing for Kaizer Chiefs. Meaning they saw your talent, they saw your form of intelligence, and they focused on it. They didn't neglect you. That no, the one who's good in mathematics is the most intelligent. That's what you are going to learn today. How can you break down intelligence? How can you describe intelligence in a broader view? One, intelligence is divided into three units: concept of intelligence, concept and measurement of intelligence, theories of intelligence, as well as the relationship between intelligence and creativity. Okay, page 150. Concept and measurements, theories, and creativity. So let's start with the concept of intelligence. Okay, number one, they say Intelligent refers to the ability to reason. So listen carefully. Intelligent is an ability to reason. That's number one, reasoning. For a person who is good in applying knowledge, I'm teaching you right now, you understand and able to apply it. You are good in numbers and figures in applications, solving problems, meaning you are intelligent. Some people, you can speak to some people, find it hard to understand, meaning they lack certain form of intellect. They're not intelligent in that way. When you speak to them, they can hear. For them, perhaps to hear, they need demonstrations. They are auditory learner and visual learners. Auditory learners, as I'm talking to you right now, you're listening to my voice and be able to grasp information to understand, meaning you are an auditory learner. Visual learners, as I'm presenting this class to you, I make sure that I use different colors: white, gray, bluish. I'm not sure of this, but it's bluish, powder blue. I use different colors just to stimulate your mind so that the class won't be boring, to make sure that you interact with me. I refer to those type of learners as visual learners. Those learners, you need to make them imagine things. I make sure that when I present, I use stimulating examples, stimulating ideas, meaning it's visual. I influence your thinking capacity. You need to think in images, think in pictures. That is, intelligence refers to the ability to reason, solve problem solving, learning, performing complex tasks, act purposefully, and adapt to the environment. That's intelligence. If you can reason, solve problems, the ability to learn, to perform complex tasks, whether it's math, whether it's working with your hands, whether it's building certain things, that is performing complex tasks. You are intelligent. Act purposefully. The ability to act purposefully. When I say to you, please assist me in starting this engine. Then you come and assist me to start the engine the way you have learned, the way you think it is applicable. And eventually the engine starts, meaning you're acting purposefully. You didn't guess. You know what you're doing. Driving requires your intelligence, an ability to see an accident before it happens. Then you apply your brakes. That is a form of intelligence. Some people, they cannot do that. The ability to maneuver, to navigate yourself and move out of that location without using even a navigator, meaning it's a form of intelligence. You are your intellect in direction. You act purposeful. No, let's move. Some people will tell you, no. If the route, we took 3 lefts, we passed the garage, we passed 3 robots. So you act purposefully. You know your direction by saying it. You think in pictures. You have memorized it. It's a form of intelligence. You are not guessing. The ability to adapt in an environment. What do I mean by the ability to adapt in an environment? When you go to an event, certain event, you have 10 friends. Let's assume you have 10 friends, including among those friends, you have your family members, you have your bosses. You're going to a certain event. In that event, you tell yourself, no, I need 2 people. But these 2 people that I would like to invite in that event, they need to be like this. Their behavior, their personality needs to be like this. Then you choose. Now in this event, I will consult Sia and I will consult Unomhle because I know they will adapt in that environment. Or we won't consult anyone, but I'll call these 2. Then you call these 2, you go to that event. So that is the ability to adapt in certain environments. Certain people they cannot adapt in certain contexts compared to others. Let me be practical. You are going to a club. You decide to go to a club. Not everyone an ability to adapt in a club setting. But certain people that you can invite and you enjoy yourself in a club. They are adaptable in that situation in front of the huge number of people in a crowded space. They can adapt. Then there are those people, no. You are going for a picnic. I want to go for a picnic, a chilled vibe whereby only 3 people or 5 people, then we eat and talk. Someone will say, no, that's not my style, bro. I won't go there. Then you invite those your introverted friends that they'll be over the moon if they'll be in that particular situation. Hence, when you choose careers, we need to consider the crowd. As soon as you say, I want to do psychology will pushes you to speak to people, whether 5, 10, 15, depends whether you're hired, but you are forced to do your presentations. I studied psychology, I'm still doing psychology. I'm forced to do presentations. Depends on which company you're working for. With psychology or social work, yes, you will be given an opportunity to sit with a person face to face, interacting, talking, tell me your problem, how can you do this? How do you feel? That is face to face. Then a setting on instances when you need to deal with a group. The company hires you to deal with their employees. You'll find that employees, there are more than hundreds. You need to give a lesson. As a psychologist, you'll be hired by UNISA to present classes. We'll give you an opportunity on a spare time, come and teach our share knowledge with our students. Group of people, whether you see them or don't see them, but it's a group of people. You'll be invited in seminars discussing brain. We need a person who can discuss a brain. Then they hire you, need to speak about brain. So as soon as you choose psychology, social work, working with people, you need to expect it. In some instances, you'll be forced to talk with a large number of people besides the individual interactions. That's why I try to make sure during these classes, talk, express yourself, ask questions, but this is an opportunity to boost your confidence. Normally in my face-to-face classes, now it's COVID, we are forced to do this. Normally, face-to-face classes, I will tell my students, next week, design a chart that will present. Group yourselves amongst 5 or 3, depending on the number of class. Next week, we are discussing intelligence. Intelligence is divided into 3 chapters. When you come next week, you'll present in front of the class. Why doing this? Like I know in your workplace, you will be forced to do that, to do presentations, sharing your knowledge, not one person, but as a group. Psychology is not about sitting with a client face to face now and again. We are not sure where psychology will take you. With me, psychology coordinated me, navigated me until I found myself in an academic where I have to teach. Some of you will take you straight to opening your own practice, whereby you sit with your client. But however, you will at times will be forced to, people will hire you. There's money, come to do a presentation. This is adapt to the environment. Psychologists need to be adaptable to any kind of person, any kind of culture. They take you to present a session in a cultural village, Venda, Matonga, Bazulu, colored community, meaning you need to be adaptable in different tribes, in different races. Then you find the person who's doing actuarial science. The person who's doing actuarial science, most of the time, he or she is dealing with numbers and figures, sitting down, trying to solve problems. Someone who's doing accounting, the laboratory, a scientist, they'll sit for days, hours, trying to come up with a cure for COVID. That is adaptability on its own. You need to be adaptable in certain environments. Adaptability as well influences our career. I've explained too much, I can hear myself. So that is, intelligence refers to the ability to reason, solve problems, you are good in solving problems, learning, performing complex tasks, act purposefully, and adapt to the new environment. That's the forms of intelligence. We are unique. Some people can adapt well to certain environments, some they cannot. Some people, when you take certain individuals to a new environment, instantly, as soon as they enter, then the room lights up because they're adaptable, act purposefully. They say intelligent. Then you ask ourselves, how to measure intelligence? Besides being adaptable to a different environment, for me to say, Sia is good in numbers and figures. To me to say, Nomke is good in working with their hands. Noluvuyo is good in working with people, in interacting with people. How do we assess that? Imagine you're going for a job interview. They need a person, yes, who is good in numbers, perhaps who's good in dealing with your computer, who's good in dealing with people. How do they know that? How they can assess? Besides you presenting your CV, besides you showing them the qualifications, they also need to talk to you to ascertain that they hired the appropriate candidate, the best candidate. They need to assess you. How are they assessing you? Through intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. Intelligence is measured through the use of psychological standardized tests. They are used to measure individuals' behavior and performance through different tasks and activities. So in that working setting, firstly, you might go for assessment. Assessment is whereby, depending on what the job requires, there'll be questions dealing with patterns. They ask you about shapes, ask you about numbers and figures, numerous questions, ask you about psychological questions, depending on the interview. Then they use those results through those assessments to ensure whether you are the right candidate or not the right candidate. So if you fail the test, they will conclude that no, we don't need this person. At times they need a certain percentage, even though you fail, perhaps they need 40%. They won't tell you, obviously. Then be surprised. You go out, you finish the assessment, you leave the premises demotivated. You are sure that you failed. However, they call you. No. Hey, Nomshe, you are speaking to Mr. What from Discovery. We would like to inform you that you do qualify to do a second assessment, which is interview. You've managed to pass the first assessment, then you're surprised. How did I do it? Only to find they just needed 30% of your marks. So they use standardized tests. By standardized test, they mean the test had been proven to be useful in assessing this kind of behavior. We need this behavior, 1, 2, 3. We need this competence. We need to know these skills. And they're saying standardized tests because the type of test that can be used have been used over and over again. They've been presented to psychologists. HPCSA knows about them. Perhaps Department of Education knows about them. Department of Labor has accepted them as the type of test that can be used in order for people to move from one phase of interview to the next. Schooling phase, let's go back to schooling. Education. UNISA, you need to pass assignments with certain percentage in order to pass your exam. Full-time institution will tell you that you need to get perhaps 50% in order for you to qualify for examination. So that is their assessment, their standardized assessment they use for you to move to a certain stage. They are used to measure individual behavior and performance. Yes, they are used to measure individual behavior and performance. Workplace, you can say, they use to measure behavior. If we need a person who can interact with other people, your question, psychological question, will be based on giving you scenarios. In this situation, how would you manage it? We'll give you 4 options. Then you choose among those options. In those 4 options, will determine what kind of person are you. Are you rude? Are you polite? Are you too apologetic? Are you confrontational? Are you calm? Are you a critical thinker? those questions can be able to determine what kind of a person is this. You cannot lie to us. To us, I'm referring to the employer, the ones who are hiring you. They might ask you 50 questions. Out of those 50 questions, they repeat 7 questions in different direction, using different wording to check your consistency, because you might guess. So they ask you the same question using different language to see the consistency. If to see the consistency, whether you didn't guess or you're sure of what you're talking about. So that's why it's difficult to fake the psychological test, because the questions might come now and again. Then we move to mental age and intelligent conscience. Let's start with mental age. Mental age, we have chronological age and mental age. Chronological age and mental age. Chronological age is your age, the age that is in your ID, your birth certificate. If you're 21, you're 21. There's nothing can change. It's chronological age. Then there's mental age. Mental age, it's a child's mental age is based on the age-related questions that the child can answer and the task that the child can perform on intelligent tests. You'll find now and again people saying your reasoning capacity is below your age or below your age group. That's somebody they say is above your age group. But no, man, you're only criticizing a person. His or her mind is so low, it's so small. For his age, he can't reason like this. I didn't expect him to reason like that for his age. You see, that's a mental age. That's a mental age. Mentally, your reasoning capacity in that age. They say intelligent conscience. How to measure someone's level of thinking? Intelligent conscience is a ratio multiplied between the child's mental age versus a child chronological age. This happens whereby when you are a child, they call you at school, you are a parent, they call you as a parent at your child's school. Nomhle, can you please see you? If possibly, if you are married, come with your husband. There's a challenge, or we would like to discuss your child's academic performance. Then you go there with your husband. They sit you down. They give you a record. Let's assume now it's June. They show you, since your child is registered with us as from January, these are the activities that we have given them. These are the tasks that they performed. Your child's marks are this. According to his or her progress, we feel like your child was not ready to do standard grade 4. We feel like your child was not ready to do standard 4. We feel like we move him back a lower grade, perhaps grade 3. We are saying this because of these marks of these performances. If not performances, we feel like your child has some issues or challenges with regard to dealing with languages. You can see your child is good in numbers and figures, is good in doing in technology, maths, economics, but challenged by linguistics, languages. Then your question is, how can you help the child? How can you help the child? Some might say, no, you need to take your child to a speech therapist because she's smart. He or she is smart. We can see that he or she is smart. However, when it comes to talking, when it comes to expressing herself in writing, presentation, her speech is not up to standard. We suggest that you take your child to an educational psychologist or speech therapist. Then you ask again, how can you conclude that my child is not good in dealing with languages or speech or talking? That's where they give you an assessment. According to orals, these are the marks. Writing, these are the marks. They recommend a psychologist or a therapist to take your child to an educational psychologist, South African context, educational psychologists, because we don't have a field that says child psychology. You take your child to educational psychologist. Educational psychology will use this formula to check your level of a child competence level. Will give your child certain activities, standardized meaning required, accepted test, not any test. I cannot design, as a psychologist, I cannot design a test and give it to your child. I need to use a test that has been used before. You give the child the test, he or she writes, or you ask the child the question, you write them down to come up with a comprehensive evidence that you need to give to parents. As a child less than 16-year-old, you need a consent form to do that. So you get a consent form for parents, you assess the child, then you give the feedback to the child, to the parents. This is the feedback based on the test. Your child's level of, let's assume that your child is 7 years old. Then the feedback says, yes, the child chronological age is 7 years old, but her or his reasoning capacity, it says she is 5 years old. Reasoning capacity of your child is 5 years old. However, her chronological age is 7 years old. Yes, the teachers are saying your child needs to move to a lower grade. If not move to a lower grade, what is it that you can do so that your child can increase her academic performance? Either lower grade, or on Saturdays, afternoons, you get a tutor. If not a tutor, he or she will keep on attending to the educational or speech therapist lessons in order to improve his or her vocab, linguistics, languages. So they use these two to measure. That is number one. Yeah, that's what they use to measure a specific intelligent conscience, your level of reasoning, your level of using certain, focusing on certain intellectual aspects. Also used in adults, they also use them in certain interview, in certain, you like to go to a university, they say before you go to this, before you enter, you like to go to navigation aircraft to be a pilot. Before you enter, besides your marks that you got 8 at university, we need to test you before you go in. You need to test your intelligence quotient. Then there's some assessment that they can use to test you. They also tell you need to get 70% in order to pass. As soon as you have passed, then you can work as a pilot in aviation. So it depends. Theories of intelligence. Theories of intelligence, that is the second chapter. First, concept and measurement of intelligence has to do how to define intelligence. How do you define intelligence? What can be measured? What forms of measurements can you use to measure intelligence? Now, theories of intelligence. Theories of intelligence. We have mentioned that intelligence differs. There's a different forms of intelligence from different psychologists. What is the intelligence according to different perspectives, different psychologists favorite what is intelligence? These are the theories. There are theories under biological. They define intelligence under biological aspects. Intelligence as different factors. Intelligence, multiple factors. Information processing as intelligence in the form of hereditary and the environment. Let's start with the biological form of intelligence. 1. Biological Intelligence by Sir Francis, the founder of biological intelligence. He explains intelligence in terms of biological. He says, Sir Francis believes that intelligence runs in the family. Have you heard that term? Intelligence runs in the family. You'll find in certain family, everyone in that family is smart in a certain level, or everyone in that family is good in dealing with certain aspects of life. Everyone in that family does sports, is good in sports. If not in sports, acting. most of people in that family that are doing acting, then you wonder why all of them are doing acting. It's because it's genetically proven that if mother is smart in certain level, in a certain aspect, chances that the child will be smarter in that certain aspect. If the father is good in mathematics, numbers and figures, chances that the kid will be good in numbers and figures. Not through genetically. Genetically, they divide it into two. They say there's nature and nurture. Nature refers to the inherited component of intelligence. The inherited component of intelligence. I'm smarter because my dad is smarter as well in dealing with certain aspects, perhaps in working with electronics. In isiZulu, because bazothi ufuzo, genetically, you are smarter genetically, you've inherited the certain genes of being smart. Nurture refers to the effects of the environment. Besides the genetically, the genes aspect of it, we refer it to the environment. How does the environment influence one's behavior? How does the environment influences you as a person? So this is whereby you are living in a family where they are doing, most of them, they are medical doctors, some are nurses, they are specialized in physicians. That influences you, that no, when I grow up as well, I would like to become a doctor because I've seen the effects, what it does to my parents, I've been going to with my father or my uncle to a hair workplace. I've seen the work, and then I got an interest. So it's an effect. The effect of the environment. Not only genes influence intelligence, also the environment. The more I do my classes here through video calls, Zoom meeting, MS Teams, one of the kids, my son perhaps get influenced. No, I like what dad is doing. I want to do it. So that is in the effects of environment, not genes, but the effects, nature and nurture. So don't forget, when we speak about biological intelligence, we are referring to Sir Francis. Sir Francis, why biological intelligence is through genetical inheritance. Genetical inheritance, according to Sir Francis, is divided into two, nature and nurture. What do they mean by nature? Nature, we are referring direct to the genes, inherited genes. Intelligence through the genes. Nurture is the intelligence through the effects of the environment. Someone sees you doing something and gets that motivation, that passion. I've seen someone doing it so much and I fall in love with it. Then you follow that route. That is nurture. 2, intelligence as one general factor and multiple factors by Spearman. Spearman comes in and says, no, intelligence can be viewed in one aspect. One aspect, that is, if a person is smart, you can conclude in an umbrella, in a vacuum, that Nomhle is smart, Daniel is smart. We are concluding. However, according to Chesperman, yes, a person can be smart in one aspect. Also, a person we can understand intelligent in multiple factors. We can understand intelligent in one factor. We can also understand intelligent in multiple factors. What does he mean by one general factor and multiple factors? Then the two theories comes into play, Tessin and Galford, to explain one general factor and multiple factors. Tessin, as I've mentioned, verbal comprehension. Verbal comprehension, a person is smart, verbal comprehension, what do you mean? The ability to speak up. The ability, let me check. The ability to understand concepts in verbal form. I'm talking to you, you're hearing my words, the ability to understand, the ability perhaps to read lips. We can say also sign language interpreters. They are good in looking at you and making sense of what they're saying. So verbal comprehension, so the ability to understand concept in a verbal form. General reasoning is the ability to solve problems and plan something new by drawing on the experience. I'll meet you in a cab, I'll meet you in a train, then we start conversation, we start a conversation. So that ability to interact, to manage, to discuss that in such a general reasoning. I come to you, we talk about COVID. I come to you, we talk about taxi drivers. Come to you, I talk about kids. Come to you, I talk about crime that is happening. That's a general reasoning, the ability just to reason. Fluent, word fluently, ability to speak and write. Ability to speak and write, having an ability to do presentation. Journalism, that might be a career that you choose. Newspaper reading, news reader, word fluently, becoming an author. Memory, an ability to learn and remember information. You're intelligent yourself. For the fact that I'm giving you a lesson and ask me a very important question that you're asking me, stimulating questions, meaning your memory is good, you're intelligent, intellectual, using your memory. Numbers and ability, I've mentioned it now and again, being good in numbers and figures. Your career might be actuary, doing an actuary, being an CA, an engineer. Yes, as well as psychology students. Psychology students, we are good in numbers and figures. If not good, you need to have an ability to deal with numbers and figures. Why is that? Intelligent quotient. When you're hired perhaps by a court, you're hired by a court or illegal institution, someone goes, you get into an accident, you get into a car accident, then you want to claim, you go to road accident fine, you want to claim that you need to get 5 million because you are good in numbers and figures. These are your qualifications, and you deserve 5 million. At times, you are wrongfully arrested. That now you want to sue people. They ask you, why do you think you deserve this 10 million? That company that's supposed to give you money, then they refer you to a psychologist. No, go to a psychologist because we need to ascertain that you are really good in dealing with numbers and you're really good in dealing with these certain aspects. Then we can pay you. We need evidence why we need to pay you 10 million. So the assessment will be verbal, numbers and figures, practical. You go to a psychologist. When you go to a psychologist, the presentation that you present to that firm, to that consultation firm, the company that you need to pay that person, need to be numbers and figures. They're dealing with numbers and figures. You need to be able to say, I'm representing this client as a psychologist according to the results. This person, 80% of this intellectual what is good in what 50% is good in what 80% I can in your report. That's why I need to be good in numbers and figures. You cannot just say write the right theory and present a theory. You need numbers and figures. Hence, there's a form of intelligent conscience. Hence, next year in your second level, you'll do a module called PYC 26, I think it's 2602, questionnaire and measurements, where you will be required to do some calculations. That levels, there's a module called psychological research. Again, it's a multiple choice question. However, you're required to calculate. You need to know stats. So that you need that ability to calculate as a psychology student. You won't only study theory. Once you're done with your honors, depending on your stream, there's a stream called psychometrist that you need to become a psychometrist. Psychometrist, as you can see, you can do a psychometrist. You will dealing with again calculations. As a psychology student, you need to have an ability to deal with numbers and figures. You need to find in other institutions, full-time institutions, when you apply, they say, no, we need mathematics. Then you become surprised, why do they need mathematics in order to study psychology? Or you need numeracy. If not pure mathematics, you need numeracy, seven level 7 for numerals in order to do mathematics. So you do need, that's why you are studying psychology. You need numbers and figures. Moving on, spatial ability. Spatial ability, the ability to represent things visually. Ability to represent things visually through drawings, mostly art students. You need to have an ability to portray things visually. Perceptual speed. Perceptual speed, the ability to recognize objects and identify similarities and differences. When you spatial ability, spatial intelligence, ability to recognize different things. That is by testing. Remember, testing multiple factors, 7 aspects. Okay. Testing 7 multiple factors. Then general factors divided into 3. We have operations, content, and products by Galford. Galford, for you to understand intelligence, you need to be able to operationalize. What does he mean by operationalizing? As several ways the brain deals with tasks, e.g., evaluation and memorizing. You see, memory. So some aspects are a repetition, but phrased differently. Memory. Content. What do you mean by content? Refer to different forms of mental representation, visual, auditory, and behavioral. Visual, of which is spatial, drawing, things. Auditory, the ability to listen to verbally. However, he expresses it as operation, content, and products. Products are the results of operation, e.g., product could be identified. Product could be the identification of relationship between things resulting from mental operation. Things resulting from mental operation through what is called product. Secondly, so another form of intelligence, multiple intelligence. You see, there are 8. Guessing, there are 7. Multiple by Gardner, there are 8. So it's Gardner, there are 8. Guessing, there are 7. Don't confuse the two. According to Gardner, some people are musically intelligent. You think of your artist, whether they compose music or they sing, they are musically intelligent. If you go to opera, listening to opera, the way they sing, you can see that they were well invested in their talents. They're intelligent because you even pay money to listen to them. Mariah Carey, the way he plays with her voice, is musically intelligent. Body kinetic energy. Body kinetic energy, you think of soccer players, tennis players, the way they move. Imagine the way Serena Williams moves when she plays, the body coordination, left, right, the head movement, meaning their polykinestical intelligence. Soccer players, you may see how they move around, your Neymar, their polykinestic intelligence. Logical and mathematical intelligence, we know it. I've mentioned it. Now and again, linguistic intelligence, your ability to write, express yourself, care opportunity, author, journalism. It's a repetition. They just use different words. You see, word fluently. Here they say linguistic. Spatial intelligence. Here they say spatial ability. So when you study, make sure that you look at the similarities and differences. Because through multiple choice, that's where you become confused. They say to you, since multiple factors of intelligence are divided into 7, then they mention 4. They say to you, which one is incorrect? According to Tessin, which forms of intelligence are incorrect? Instead of saying number ability, they say logical and mathematical intelligence, meaning they're correct. It's also under Tessin. It's just that it has been phrased differently by number abilities. You need to check that when you study. What is similar, what is not similar? What can you find under Tessin at what you can find under Gardner. Spatial, we have done it. Interpersonal intelligence, same applies to verbal. Whereby your ability to interact with other people, your ability to interact, how well can you communicate? Intrapersonal intelligence, self-regulation, self-mediating, the ability to speak to yourself is a skill. There are people who are able to speak to themselves, to understand their thoughts. Then understanding of oneself, being in touch with your feelings. Then there's naturalistic intelligence. Naturalistic intelligence is more of the ability to adapt to different environments. Ability to adapt to environment. You see, we've mentioned it, however, it's been phrased differently. Information processing. Information processing, another form of intelligence by Robert Sternberg. Robert Sternberg believes that for us to understand intelligence, we need to break it down into 3 forms of intelligence: comprehension intelligence, experiential intelligence, and contextual intelligence. Comprehension intelligence is refer to the ways in which people process information, e.g., a process used for planning, problem solving. How you plan, problem solving. You see, repetition. However, in this, they say comprehension, planning and solving. We've been discussing it. Experiential intelligence, your experience, your ability to draw your experience to a current situation. I ask you a question, you withdraw from a past experience, you apply it. Refer to the ways refer to the way a person's past experience contribute to knowledge and skills that are applied in the real life situation, current situation. Contextual intelligence, refer to the ability to adapt to real world situation and various contexts. You see, repetition as well. Naturalistic intelligence, contextual intelligence, ability to adapt to different contexts, different environments. Moving on, last one for today. No, not the last one. I think it's the second last. Yeah, second last slide. Heredity versus environment. Intelligence in form of heredity environment is more the same as biological by Sir Francis Galton. Heredity versus environment is more or less the same, however, by different theories. They say heredity influence intelligence. How does the heredity influence intelligence? People who are closely related in terms of genetics obtain similar scores on intelligence. So people who are closely related, mostly people who are closely related, whether they're living together, they could be twins, as they mentioned here, they could be twins, or living in the same environment. They're more likely to obtain similar scores and intelligence test. Why? They're playing the same games, they're doing the same activities, they're exposed to similar aspects in life. Chances are they score similar in intelligence. The closer the relationship, the more similar the scores are likely to be. They say, e.g., it has been found that the test scores of identical twins are more similar than those of fraternal twins. Identical twins, there are different types of twins. Identical twins, there are twins that are similar, then there are twins that are not, they don't look similar. So they say the identical twins produces the similar scores compared to fraternal twins through what is called heredity. Then moving on to the environment. How does the environment influences one intelligence? People who are raised in a similar environment obtain similar scores on intelligence tests. People are raised in a similar environment. This is another example for this. You'll find Brazilians. Brazilians are good in soccer. Why they're good in soccer? Because that's their sports, type of sport that they respect so much. Most people that are playing soccer, almost 75% of the people play sports. So people who are raised in a similar environment obtain similar score intelligence tests. They're more likely to have professional soccer players. If you see all around the world, you'll find a Brazilian player excelling. Same applies to any other activity, whether it's verbal, numbers and figures. Environment influences people similarly, meaning that people who share the same environment are exposed to the same kind of stimulation. Support for the development of the skill and the abilities are influenced performance on intelligence test. So straight to the point. Lastly, intelligence versus creativity. They say, at times we say creative people are not intelligent. At times we say that creative people are not intelligent. So they're concluding by saying creative involves original, novel, and useful ideas. Creative involve original, yes. Creative people has to do with original, novel, unusual ways of doing things, and useful ideas, meaning they are creative as well. Creative and intelligence are related, but they represent different kinds of mental abilities. Most highly creative people have above average of intellectual ability. Most creative people have above average. They might ask you the question multiple choice. Creative thinking differs from routine problem solving because it is inventive and includes originality. Creative thinking differs from routine problem. They say creative thinking is adaptive in a sense that must be appropriate to a situation or a problem. For you to be creative, you need to be appropriate to a certain situation, like performing arts, sports. No, singing is part of performing arts, creativity in that phase. Artists who are dealing with drawings, yeah, creative in that specific sphere. That's what they're referring when they say creative thinking is adaptable to a certain platform. When you're good in music, you might not be good in acting. The last three, division thinking refers to the ability to produce unusual and unconventional thoughts and solving solution to the problem. Divergent thinking refers to the ability to produce unusual, unconventional thoughts. So you can highlight it. Divergent thinking are more like creative people, coming up with unusual ways of doing things and conventional thoughts and solutions. Convergent thinking describes the thought process that conventional correct answer to the problem. Conventional are more of logical thinkers. Solve for X, you need to do certain steps. You need to follow certain steps in order to come to 2. Solve for X, step 1 is step 1, step 2. You're not creative. They say you're logical. Step 1, step 2, step 3, then you find an answer. That's a convergent thinkers. Then there's cognitive complex. Cognitive complex refers to the ability to think beyond what is presented to you and to use complex thought patterns. The ability to think beyond what is given to you. So more like a genius, intelligent genius. So that's it regarding intelligence for today. So thanks for attending. I hope we understood one another. I hope the class was informative. Thanks for coming, guys. We have how many minutes left? Few minutes. So before you leave, you can ask questions or elaborate on certain pointers. The next class will meet again Saturday PYC 1502 at 12:50. 12:50 we'll be discussing. Let me check what we'll be discussing this Saturday. Oh, he's here. This Saturday we'll be discussing on the 4th. We're doing 3 chapters: social issues, psychological programs, and science of psychology. 3 chapters for 2 hours is a short lesson. Then we left to self for 3 hours in psychology of work because they're long. That is Saturday, 12:50. Next week, under PYC1501, we'll be doing emotion and memory in 2 hours. So basically, under PYC1501, we are left with 3 lessons. 1, 2, 3. Under PYC1502, again, you are left with 3. 1, 2, 3. As soon as we meet Saturday, we will be left with 2. We are almost done, guys. So let's push. I'm expecting distinctions from you. Okay, I'm done, guys. On my side, I'm done. If you don't have any questions, feel free to leave the class. We'll meet Saturday. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
A pleasure. Thanks for coming. Hey, Mr. Luna.
Hello, Mr. Zwan.
You I think the bill.
Okay.
Yebo. Ngibongile sobonana Saturday. Now Saturday.
What?
Okay, Saturday. Ngiyabonga.